everybody. Oh, okay. I have to use Knit Companion and I have to have my iPad and it's just going to do all sorts of alerts here. Maybe I really can't silence those, but we're going to do some knitting and I am going to put this over yonder where I can see it, but it's not in the camera, and I am going to actually put this pattern here. I should put this in as a command. I'm doing it. There we go, and I'll probably have to do that again, I would imagine. How is everybody? It's early for me, and you can see the bright sunshine. We've got a wonderful day heating up. It's going to get very hot today. Gonna feel like 101 is what they say by this afternoon. Unfortunately, hubby and I have plans. We need to leave the house at noon, and so I am just doing this stream a little bit early. I will end at 11:30 my time and get going on our errands. I'm getting my hair cut, so check it out on Sunday when I stream. I will have shorter hair. Anyway, this is the front. I've already completed the back of this. It is a lacy pattern and it is done on a Black Welsh Mountain. I purchased the yarn from a Black Welsh Mountain breeder. She had it spun at a mill, and she can use this for Shave 'em to Save 'em as part of the Passport program. So this project is the only knitted project that I'm doing for the Passport, and I started quite a while ago and I do have half of it done. It's pretty easy and it's a pretty quick knit. It's more a fact that I just don't spend the time knitting. So let's get knitting. So I can't complain about that anymore. It's an 18 row repeat. However, it's 9 rows repeated twice for one pattern, 18 rows. So that's kind of nice too. That makes it easier. And it's morning and it's daylight, but I kind of wish maybe I had brought my other light to plug in here. I might have to try and remember that for next time. It's a pretty easy pattern. I have to look at every row. I know what's coming in the rows, but I have to look, and get it, the yarn overs right and everything. But it's easy because it is a 12 stitch repeat. So once I get the first 12 stitches done, and I have a marker here for every 12 stitches, so if my knitting doesn't work out to that 12 stitch pattern, by the time I hit that marker, I know I've done something wrong. It makes it so much easier. So like this 12 stitch pattern for this row is purl 3 together, purl 4, yarn over, purl 1, yarn over, and purl 4. And there's 4 stitches left, so that's what I mean. It's really nice to knit. I have to pay attention. It's really not it's a TV watching knit, but it's not a, I can look up from the knitting a lot, kind of knit. I really do have to watch what I'm doing with each step, with each stitch, because each stitch is different. I may try and move that camera down a little bit. Like that. One nice thing is it doesn't go back and forth between knits and purls too much on the rows. That's another thing that makes it, you know, these things, I'm always in awe of people who come up with these actual pattern designs. Not the garment construction as much as just, you know, what designs they're going to put, what stitches they're going to make that construction out of. I'm still trying to get this so I'm holding it in the camera more. There we go, maybe. Alright, what was I doing? That's the purl 3, that's the 4, yarn over, oops. Yep, 2 more purls. Okay, I'm right. Ever seen a purl 3 together? You just stick your needle under 3 of those stitches and purl. This ball that I'm working from is 500 yards. It is lace weight, so you know it's a big ball, but considering there's 500 yards there, that's not that big of a ball. It's pretty amazing. And the front used about 500, I mean the back used about 520. I'm going to be playing Yarn Chicken. I will just have to figure out enough deepness here so I cut out these stitches right and just put a little bit of a shoulder here but still have it come out even in length. I'm hoping if I just follow their directions it'll work, but yeah, we'll see. If it doesn't, I know where I can rip back and adjust it so I use less yarn in the front. I am checking something here on Pretzel because I believe it's playing the same song over and over. It is. Pretzel. I don't know what is up with Pretzel. None of their stations work. I need to go look on their Discord and see if they've posted anything. The only station that works is the one that is pulling from every single song in their library, called Surprise Me. I feel like maybe they set something for people who want a loop right, and they've got the music looping somehow. Crazy. How's everybody doing getting ready for Tour de Fleece? We got 1 week. 1 week from tomorrow it starts. We got 1 week left. I gotta scoot back on my chair. This is not working. Hopefully I can do it without falling off. Yeah. So, I have about a week's worth of work left to do for Tour de Fleece. I am currently carding the CVM for the sweater spin, and it's going pretty good. I may have to ramp up a little bit, doing more than 2 bats a day. And let's see, the other thing is I have a fleece for the Raw Wool Lovers Unite team that I had to decide at what point to start with it, because it's just plain raw fleece right now. And I could start with that, but I would lose a lot of the Tour de Fleece by having to pick it open before I washed it, and I'm going to dye it directly after I wash it, right while it's wet. It's going to go into the dye pot, so I don't want to lose that time. So I've decided that I'm going to go and pick it. I'm going to get it picked, and then when the tour starts, it's ready for wash it, put it in the dye pot, let it dry. After that, again, it's going to have to be picked, and you know, I may not end up spinning any of it for the Tour de Fleece, except for maybe picking a little bit, carding, and combing it to make a sample skein to see, you know, what I want to do with it. Okay, so this channel is working. I can quit fiddling with it now. I don't have to worry about it anymore. But that fleece is the smallest, the least important part of my Tour de Fleece spinning. 3 shave 'em to save 'em fibers and the sweater spin are my 2 main goals. I haven't really decided on any challenges. usually I did that during all my other turtle fleeces. I could fall back on the ones that I do frequently. One is spin on the Ashford and get the Ashford spinning good again, because anytime I let it sit for a while like I have, I need to get it adjusted and spun. And try spinning on a support spindle. I really am going to end up giving up support spindles, I think, since the Nano spins so nice and thin. I love these bamboo needles on the circular, but they do slip off the end of the point sometimes. I have drop stitches and stuff like that. I just knit that, didn't I? I did. It's supposed to be a pearl. You know, I think I may have done that wrong in the row before, and I am not going to worry about it. It's a yarn over, purl one, yarn over, and it is so easy when you yarn over to go ahead and knit. No, I think I did it right. It's pretty much in my fingers. You know, it felt right when I just did it. Now this is the one thing I run into all the time. There is a yarn over, you know, with all these little stitch markers that it somehow gets put where the on the wrong side of the stitch marker. It drives me crazy. All right. Alright, I'm going to take back this row. This is something's amiss. It's not right. So I'll get these three. One nice thing about this yarn, it's crisp. And kind of looks like maybe I only grabbed 2 instead of the 3 for the Pearl 3 here. do believe that's what happened. Okay. So maybe I'm alright now. Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, I'm alright now. That was a... I didn't need to do that yarn over. That was a picked up stitch. Okay. Good morning, Kay. I'm just sitting here talking to myself about this knitting. What I'm doing with it. How's your day today? I'm just getting started with mine. This is early for me. Okay. Poor phone. It's tired. That's fine. We'll see you in a minute. Oh, we have big storms predicted tonight. We're going to have quite a hot day, and it's going to build up to pretty big storms tonight. So, your poor dog is not fond of storms. You see that in dogs a lot. I've dropped a stitch. Oh my gosh, I wondered what was going on here. Wow, this looks kind of like scary. All right. I think it goes right there. Still acting like maybe there's stitches missing. One of the problems I'm running into with this yarn is it is thick and thin. And sometimes when two stitches lay beside each other, it'll look like a thicker part of the yarn, and so I knit it together, right? I mean, I knit those two stitches together thinking it's one stitch. This was mill spun, but in many ways it kind of mimics hand spinning in that sense that just like we have trouble when we spin, and this looks all real good, but here is a good example right there that's thicker. You know, it'll hit, when it's mill spinning, it'll hit a shorter fibered area and end up with not as nice of an even of a spin. You know it's because it's not commercial, right? It's a small mini mill that's doing it, but when we think that anything has spun other than hand spun, it's going to be consistent. It's not always true, and this is the first I've found that out. First I've run into it. Right, I am still missing one yarn over here. I'll just do that. I'm not so sure I can knit on stream. I'm having a little difficulty keeping my pattern going here. Don't have this problem when I'm just sitting knitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, purl 1. Is that a yarn over? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I don't know why it's such a simple 12 stitch repeat. Love it when I end up right on the end. Alright. I got 2 more rows here of this repeat. This is, as I was saying earlier, a 9 row, and 4 of the rows are easy knit, right? No patterning, and 5 of them are the kind of the lace patterning. Alright, this is slip 1, knit 2 together, and pass slip stitch over. The weather cooled the last couple of days. Today's going to be an exception because it's going to get hot, but I mean, cool enough that we didn't have to run the air conditioner. We could open the windows and stuff like that. But I took advantage of one day yesterday when it was cooler to do some baking. And it's all because of what I was reading. I was reading a book that was British called Bittersweet by Colleen McCulloch. Really good book. But they were forever making scones, right? And they had this one really neat male character who was very comfortable keeping house, and he would just whip up a batch of scones. I got so tired of reading about scones, I had to make scones. So I made scones yesterday. Oh, they were good too. They were good. So I had one for breakfast yesterday and one for breakfast today. Not quite doing the whole complete thing by making a pot of tea yet, but you know. I am really happy with how Stash Dash has gotten me focused on getting these projects done. I am. Feeling productive. Feeling like my days are productive. It took every ounce of my willpower to get to my water aerobics class yesterday morning because when I left the house, it was 59 degrees. Yeah, it warmed up in town. That was out here in the country, and it was 67 air temperature, but the water was 82. So really, I mean, if you get there and get in the water and keep your body kind of under the water, not completely under, but you know, most of your body in the water, it's not too bad. They used to have that class at 11 o'clock, and there was a lot more sunshine when it was that time of day. It's at 9 o'clock now, and it's just not as warm. But I go specifically because I like the teacher, so I would have other options, but I really like the teacher. I thought about knitting on my socks. And most certainly a smaller project. I need to show them on stream sometime. Maybe I'll show them Sunday. Because they're pretty. It's a pretty yarn. But I'm trying to, on the, it's just commercial sock yarn. I'm trying on the streams to kind of keep a spinning focus. Even if it means I'm knitting with, you know, something related to the wool, or like those Shave and Save 'em. I don't know if people really care, but I figure there's a lot of people knitting with sock yarn on streams. I notice if the music's faster, I'm trying to knit faster. have to watch myself. I seem to want to throw in a yarn over just about anywhere. It's like there's only 2 in the 12 stitches. I think it's because I don't pick when I knit. I throw, so it's a throwing motion, but I'm not really doing a stitch. I end up with a yarn over. I do miss trying the vintage patterns and or crocheting stuff from it, and I will get back to that probably in the fall after I get through Stash Dash, Turtle Fleece, and Shave 'em to Save 'em, and I just want to get some of these pending things out and done, and then we'll go back to looking at some of the vintage patterns and trying them. Can't use my Throwback Thursday unless I go back to Thursdays. I just don't think I will, as long as I'm doing that aquatics class. I'm worn out when I get home from that. I'm doing it in the morning, but truly, by the time I drive there, do the class, drive back, come home, take a shower, wash my swimsuit, and get towels and everything in the dryer, and it's lunchtime. And I sit and take a break, and it's 2 o'clock. And then maybe I'll do some housework, and it's 4 o'clock. Well, then it's time to eat supper. Streaming just is not going to fit in on those days. And that's fine. I just, you know, I was so proud of that when I came up with Throwback Thursday. Not sure what I could come up with for Fridays that would be clean. Child-proof. Hi, Mass Bandit. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good. Finish Friday is the only thing I can think of. Yeah, it's not a bad one, but I would never finish something on stream, I don't think, you know, have it that far along. Yeah, that's what you're saying. You don't usually have a finish that fast. I am doing good. I hope you're doing good. I'm glad you could join me. So I've just finished one complete 18 row repeat. So we'll go back up to start over. Let me clear this, my counter. Yeah, I know. I had to change. So if you're going every other day, we're probably going to hit on Wednesdays and Thursdays, or Wednesdays and Fridays. But yeah, I had to change from Tuesday, Thursday to Wednesday, Friday, so I probably hit your work days. Sorry about that, but I know I haven't been able to join you either. Truth is, I'm having very few viewers. Lots of faithful folk, but just not large numbers. I'm hoping when we do the raid trains with Tour de Fleece, people will come and then maybe come back, you know, without the raid train. Although there'll probably only be one raid train during Tour de Fleece, during the 3 weeks. Maybe 2. Yeah. Massbender says work every other day should, so I should be able to hit every other week. Oh, so it switches on you. Yeah, because it's 7 days. It's not an even number. Okay. Okay. Well, that works too. That's all right. I'm just real glad when you get here. What you working on today? Oh, I saw you talking about the difference between a Mandela and a... What was the other one? Can't think what the other one was. Crochet doily, right? Yeah, Mandela and a doily. Mandela tends to be solid, more solid. I actually need to go and look at patterns that are called mandalas. I'm not familiar with that term as far as, you know, a decorative piece of crochet. Is it a vintage term? Is it an older term? This is a yarn over knit 2 together row, and that's slow knitting to get those knit 2 together. They look the same to your eyes. Oh. Oh. Well, maybe it's just a geographical terminology. You know, certain countries use that term instead of doily. Doily could be a very British origin type word, English. That's interesting. I mean, you could extend your research to that old vintage library. You know, the books that are online that are older. See if maybe there's something about it there. You've got me curious. I'm going to get my one book out here. Just a minute. It's right here. It's buried underneath stuff, but it's right here. And the reason I'm here, let me, so I don't lose a stitch marker, let me do one more stitch here. Okay, now it's not going to go anywhere. is because this is Dictionary of Needlework. I want to see what it says for Mandela. Do you have this book? Are you familiar with this book? It's a very common book. I know a lot of people have it. I'll take a cup of coffee, thank you. I like it black. Things are charging. Yes, dog is walked and coffee's going. Well, let's see what this says about Mandela. They have so much lace stuff. That's why I got it, because that's my first love. What am I on? I don't even know what letter I'm on here. Knotted. Okay, we gotta go back a little bit. Oh, too far. I can just sit and read these, you know, all the words and everything that they use in the... I'm such a nerd. I'm such a old book geek, nerd, whatever. Alright, well, that ends. Okay, here we go. Should be right in here. Oh, I hate to say it, they don't have Mandela. They don't. There's no Mandela. Sorry. Oh, unless I'm spelling it wrong. Let me see here. Let me see how you spelled it here. M-A-N-D-A-L-A. That's... Oh. Yeah, M-A-N-D-A-L-A. Nope. Too bad. We go from manchette, a French term denoting cuff, to Manila hemp, fibrous material obtained from a plant allied to the banana. It's a newer term, okay. It had older roots. How interesting. Well, have a fun. That's going to be a good research project. Oh, well, it would help if it was actually doing this while I was typing. My Ravelry link for my project is moved up ahead, so I am going to put a new one on here and let it scroll up. I am familiar with the term Mandela as far as a design. You see them in coloring books and things like that. They're very geometrically formed inside of a circle, you know. That's, unless that's a different term, that is what I think of a mandala. Boy, there's a lot of them on Ravelry. Oh my goodness. And you know what? Some of them do look really, what am I trying to say? Really dense. Oh man, some of these are really neat. And some of them are more open. Oh, there's such a pretty one. It looks very old-fashioned. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, there are 74 pages of mandala. I could fall down that rabbit hole. They look quick to do. I mean, not necessarily quick, but you know, certainly not a sweater or whatever. And I haven't crocheted for so long. Noun, a geometric figure representing the universe in Hindu and Buddhist symbolism. Okay. A symbol in a dream, yes, I'm familiar with that, representing the dreamer's search for completeness and self-unity. That's what you get when you look for the definition of a mandala. Yeah. And that's pretty cool because, okay, the coloring books tend to make them very geometrical, but most certainly they don't have to be. I wouldn't want anything that's, you know, representing a figure representing something for me, you know, necessarily geometrical, right? I'm trying to get a little spiritual there, but anyway, the concept that it's Hindu and Buddhism is interesting. That would make it a newer term, relatively newer term. They are fun. They're fun looking on Ravelry anyway. What size yarn are you using? As small as tatting, or are you using general crochet cotton? To me, it looks like they use a little heavier yarn, or maybe I should say yarn as opposed to thread. You know, for the mandalas. Mandala? I think it's mandala, isn't it? I think I'm saying it wrong. I'm saying it with a southern accent here. Sorry. Mandala. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Let's go take a look here. Oops, I didn't mean to put that all the way down. Just a little. Just make it little. There we go. You can tell I'm not in the mood to knit. Sitting here playing on the computer. Oh, that's neat. Yeah. And you're almost done, or you're going to do the... are you starting on a blue next? Is that what you're doing? Cool. It does. I can see... Okay, there's two things going on that make it different than a doily. First of all, it's pretty much perfectly round in most cases, I think, and you know, doilies can have spokes a lot of times, And I think maybe that's one of the reasons they went with that terminology, because maybe traditionally the mandalas from the Buddhist and all that were round, which is how I've always seen them too, portrayed in drawings. Nine rounds left to go. Yeah, just changed to the blue purple. Yeah. And it looks like it's regular yarn, isn't it? Or is it still crochet cotton? See, I think if I used a heavier wool or whatever in a pattern, it'd make a nice hot pad. And not to take stuff out of the oven, but to, you know, sit a casserole out of the oven down on your counter. Okay. Yeah, 3-ply. That's what I'm thinking. Good use of ends of skeins of yarn. Gonna have a super busy week next week. I think we tried to cram everything into 1 week. I hate it when that happens. But I'm gonna do one thing fun. I sure hope it doesn't rain. I'm going to an alpaca farm. I'm gonna go see the alpacas, see them get sheared, and buy a couple blankets, which is what they call the fiber that you take off the back of the alpaca. Farm's about 4.5 hours away from us. We're gonna make it a short trip for me by staying halfway up there, not quite halfway, but staying at some place that we've been wanting to go anyway, right? So we're gonna do that Monday and Tuesday. It's gonna be fun. And yeah, we do. We just take off at the drop of the hat and do this kind of stuff. I met this lady when I went to the fiber fair. Sat and talked to her for quite a while, and gave her my email address. She told me she was going to be shearing on the 22nd. I gave her my email address, and she says, "You're more than welcome to come." She opens it up for people to come and buy the fiber. And this seems to be a thing with alpaca farms, really. One of the things is, it's on the alpaca, when you're shearing it, it's there's not as much skirting involved as there is with wool. You know, she was showing me pictures of some of her alpacas and how she shows them and how they have a show cut, and the show cut leaves it's kind of like dogs with poodles, where the head's all still real puffy, full of fur, and the legs still have a lot of fur, and of course the tail. So, you know, I don't know how much they actually leave on the chest, but I think that's one of the reasons the alpaca people are like, yeah, come buy it, you can take it today thing. There isn't as much skirting to do, I'm thinking. And she has already asked me, she said, you know, what colors do you want? I was like, oh my gosh, what colors do I want? The third thing, the main reason I'm actually going, is because there are two types of alpaca. There's Wakaya and Suri. And Wakaya is a pretty traditional that most people know, but Suri is a genetic part of the alpaca, puts out a different kind of fiber, and it tends to corkscrew and be curly, sometimes a little longer, kind of depends on how often they shear them, but a little more silky, a little shinier. So what she has is both, and I want to make sure I get Suri, because I already have the other alpaca fiber, the Wakaya, in abundance. When my husband was working, he would, every once in a while, he'd run into a farm. He fixed appliances. He'd go places and fix appliances. Most of the time it was in the city, but every once in a while he'd go to a farm. And they would have farm animals, and he'd talk all about it. And one time he went to an alpaca, where they had alpacas, and he was telling them, oh, my wife spins that fiber. Well, guess what? He came home with 5 bags of fiber because they were like, oh, wow, we don't know of anybody that wants this fiber, you know, here, give it to her. Oh my goodness. I have been working through that alpaca fiber for years. Fortunately, it stores well. But I have not been able to get Suri for a long, long time, so I'm looking forward to getting Suri. Sorry about the beep, folks. That's my iPad. I got Knit Companion on, and that's people posting on Discord. You're in the Ravelry rabbit hole. There are more what I think of as dimensional and color changes. I'm using a color changing yarn, okay, from Lion Brand for mine, instead of changing for every round or every cover of rows. Yes, and I suppose that is to make it more challenging or more complicated. If they're trying to sell the pattern, a reason for the pattern. Okay. And dimensional means they go out, like it looks like it has a flower on it or something. You know what I'm saying? It's not just flat. It's not like I'd use that for a hot pad, right? It's more decorative. Be very, very pretty as a decorative part of a purse side or something like that, you know. Anyway, so they call those dimensional, I think is what you're saying. I would think that they're all crocheted. I mean, there's certainly no reason why you can't make a knitted circle, but when you go, you know, like you build things up sometimes with crochet to make it dimensional. That paragraph needs punctuation in the worst way. You call them dimensional, but you don't know if everybody does. Okay, not a community-wide term. Okay. You do find some? Oh, okay. You know me, I don't mind crochet. I have a little trouble following crochet patterns because I'm just not as familiar with them. I'm just not as comfortable as I am with knitted patterns. So things like, you know, don't go completely circular, right? I don't attach to the right place is usually what's going on. Woohoo! My one and only all knit row. And now that I've started it, I am going to take a stretch break. I need to stretch. I'm going to not be on much past 11:30. We gotta leave at noon today to run our errands and get my appointment. We're both getting haircuts, so we both have haircut appointments. Wow, 106 knitted patterns and 1266 for crocheted. That is real interesting. Isn't Ravelry cool? I know so many people can't use it, and I feel sorry, and you know, they should fix that, but I love Ravelry. Always have. I remember when they opened up, you know, they'd only let so many people in at a time. They didn't want to crash the servers. I mean, they were small, building up. I even got a t-shirt in the early days that says, I helped swatch Ravelry, right? It's got the swatch square on it. It's a cool t-shirt, right? Nobody has any idea what it means or what it's all about. But, you know, by getting in on the early side of it, that's one of the t-shirts they were selling to raise money. Always been a supporter of Ravelry. You don't see the problem, and that's the problem. You don't see it. Yeah. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not a real long-term browser on there. I look something up, I put something in I put something that I'm working on, I put pictures in, and, you know, my project pages, I keep those up. I don't read a lot of the groups. I'm in a lot of groups, but I read very few of them. And I suppose that's part of what's going on is the people who are not able to stay on it or trying to do that, read all that, and Discord is just so much better for that, right? It's so much easier on the eyes and everything. So probably it was the forums that was causing so much of the trouble. I mean, I'm just talking, but I should have been counting my 12 stitches between here, because with the yarn over knit two together, sometimes I really get my 12 going off. Let me count these and see how I'm doing here. Okay, that one's right. That one's right. Okay. Yeah, I'm all right. It's getting very warm in here. I don't have the air on yet. I think the sun is starting to heat the house up. Oh yeah, heat is so, I know. But you had the AC on. You were getting dizzy and disoriented, and it wasn't lower high blood sugar, so it had to be the heat, because as soon as I cooled down, it was better. Especially if you go outside, and you're outside in the humidity too, you know, so you get the heat index. Oh, yeah, that's bad. I mean, that's what's going to happen today, is we're going to have 90 plus degrees, and then the humidity, and it's supposed to feel like over 100. My air conditioner is set to go on at a certain temperature, and it hasn't hit that in the house yet. It will go on automatically if it hits that. And in general, our house is always cooler than outside, but it'll warm up in the afternoon. So we run into the situation where it's nice, you know, and then all of a sudden you're like, ah, it's hot in here. And you go make the air conditioner come on, even though it's set to come on at a different temp. Wintertime's totally different. The house is always cold. Instead, I mean, sometimes when we transition from winter to spring, the house will be at least 10 degrees cooler than it is outside, because the sun is shining and, you know, it feels warmer outside than it is in the house. And it's still early spring, so that's not what you want, right? That's what you want in the middle of summer. But in particular, if you live in the urban area, you know, without a lot of trees around or whatever, it can really heat up and get hot quick. Oh, yours is just a wall unit, so you have to switch it on and off. I haven't used it in a couple summers. Oh, you usually don't get that warm. Okay, yeah, early in this season. It's early for us, too. Well, I can definitely see progress. I mean, it was about like that when I started. It was half that. I've doubled it. It is pretty quick knit if I just sit and do it. Fastman has said, I don't usually get lost in rabbit holes. I'd rather be doing than looking. You were out of the Mandela hole after the first page. Yeah, there were 74 pages. That's what I said. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I would want to do that either. I think I will go look at the knitted ones first, though. Do that search. That's a little more manageable. Can you imagine? I've never actually just did a search for socks in Ravelry. Can you imagine how many pages there are? Oh my gosh. I do like their little side thing though, where if it's been put in right, you can do the different, you know, like a style of construction, a certain kind of heel or whatever. Toe up, cuff down, all that kind of stuff. Size is outrageous. I can imagine. You put 7 in your library that were free, and 2 of my favorites that are paid for. Yeah. Yeah, you can sort by that. Free. thing too, and that's a good thing. Yeah, I will do that when I'm not sitting at the computer, but sitting in my recliner and have my iPad. I will take some time to look at them. Because I do, especially using up little bits of yarn that I have left, not even hand spun necessarily, but commercial sock yarn and stuff like that. My only thing is, what do you do with them then? You make them and have the fun of making them and put them away, and that's it. Alright, I am going to not do another row. I'm at a good stopping point here. Just did my easy rows, and now I'm going to do some more lace rows next, so that'll be for when I sit down again. Looks like a collar, doesn't it? Looks like a collar. Oh, excuse me. One of these days I'll start sleeping again. I'm having so much trouble sleeping. It's not a good thing. Yeah, that's sort of what this is. You know, mostly because this is very scratchy yarn. Black Welsh Mountain. This is natural black for the sheep, but the I think I pulled my camera when I put my iPad down. I did. Let me get that off there. I pulled the cord for it. There we go. Sorry about that. So this is going to go over something too, and they even show it over something because it's so lacy. When you get it blocked out, you can't wear it alone. So that's a cool use. That's a cool way to do it. I don't know how I feel about wearing circles. I had this 70 mod thing going in my mind of the crocheted circles. Yeah. Let's see if there's anybody to raid. There weren't many people on when I first got on. Gonna get rid of everybody's playing games. All right. 9.5 is crocheting. Making knives, glass blowing. Okay, well, I have never, no, I thought I followed Soap Passion, but I know he's, let's see, get past the ad here. He has a chicken cam. And I think that's who we're going to raid. If that's all right with you guys. He's on. Oh, it was nice doing chores with you. Thanks, Kate. Let's see here. You weren't looking at your whole list. Oh, I've been there, done that. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll be back Sunday. Be spinning. So, until later. Bye. And I'm going to remember to turn my stream off, too. Here we go.